we have studied the Battle of Plassey, Battle of Buxar. After that, we have studied the dual government of Bengal. Now we are going to start the topic of subsidiary alliance. So what was the subsidiary alliance? Subsidiary alliance was a treaty. Basically, it was a treaty between British East India Company, and Indian rulers. According to which the Indian rulers have lost their sovereignty, and they get the protection from the external attacks. Okay, so it was a treaty between British East India Company and Indian rulers, according to which the Indian rulers have lost their sovereignty, and in return they get the protection from the external attacks. The original idea of subsidiary alliance was conceived by the Dupleix, the French governor, but it was put forward to practice by the Richard Wellesley, who was the Governor General of Bengal between 1798 to 1805. Why he chosen this? He chosen this because of two reasons. The first reason was he wanted to create an orbit of influence over the Indian rulers. तो वो इंडियन रूलर्स के ऊपर इन्फ्लुएंस करना चाहते थे. एंड सेकेंड वाज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, अकॉर्डिंग टू विच द फ्रेंच थ्रेट अंडर द नेपोलियन. तो वो फ्रेंच जो थ्रेट था उसको कम करना चाहते. व्हाट वाज द फीचर? द फीचर वाज द इंडियन रूलर्स फाइंड subsidiary alliances had to accept British army within his kingdom, and they would provide the expense, land and maintenance to the army by oneself. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जो इंडियन रूलर्स है उनको अपने किंगडम में ब्रिटिश आर्मी रखनी पड़ेगी, और उसका जो एक्सपेंस होगा, लैंड होगा, मेंटेनेंस होगा, उन्हें खुद से देना पड़ेगा. यानी कि दे लॉस्ट द राइट टू डिफेंस. ये उस राजा का डिफेंस सिस्टम खत्म हो गया. सेकंड, द रूलर्स could not conduct his external relations with any other power without taking permission from the company, British East India Company. According to which the rulers lost the right to diplomatic relation. यानी कि वो अपना जो डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशन था वो नहीं मेंटेन कर सकते थे. डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशन. थर्ड वन वाज द रूलर्स could not employ any European अंडर हिज किंगडम विदाउट कंसल्टिंग द EIC. यानी कि वो अपने राज्य में किसी भी यूरोपियन को एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं दे सकते थे विदाउट कंसल्टिंग द EIC. अकॉर्डिंग टू विच दे लॉस्ट द राइट टू एम्प्लॉय एक्सपर्टीज. यानी कि वो एक्सपर्टीज भी आप अपने हिसाब से नहीं कर सकते थे. यानी कि ये भी लॉस्ट हो गया. एंड फोर्थ वन वाज द rulers had to keep British officials in his court, known as British resident. उनके अपने कोर्ट में एक ब्रिटिश रेजिडेंट रखना पड़ा था. यानी कि they also lost the right to independence. यानी कि उनकी जो स्वतंत्रता थी, इंडिपेंडेंस, वो भी खत्म हो गई. Last was the EIC agreed to not to interfere in the internal affair of kingdom. यानी वो इंटरनल अफेयर में इंटरफेयर नहीं करेंगे. इसका मतलब ये हो गया, अगर नेबर से कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, नेबर किंगडम से कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है, तो उस राजा को खुद से ही निपटारा करना पड़ेगा. नेबर्स डिस्प्यूट सेटलमेंट वो खुद से करना पड़ेगा. यानी कि इसमें भी प्रॉब्लम आने वाली है. ठीक है, तो ये थे इसके प्रोविजंस. द फर्स्ट स्टेट हु साइंड द subsidiary alliance was the Hyderabad in 1798. Very important question. Why he chosen this? Because the Nizam of Hyderabad wanted the protection from the Maratha. So he chosen this. The first state, Hyderabad. After that, Mysore in 1799 after the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. After that, Tanjore in 1799, Surat 1800, Awadh and Karnataka in 1801, Peshwa in 1802, Bhosle 1803, Sindhia 1804, and last Maratha was the Holkar, who chosen this subsidiary alliance in 1818. So this was the whole topic about the subsidiary alliance. Now we are going to discuss the twofold policy of Dal Housie. Dal Housie was the Governor General of India between 1748 to 1856. He founded twofold policy. One was the administration through war, according to which he obtained the Punjab in 1849. He annexed the Punjab basically through the war. The second policy was the peaceful annexation. It has two parts: doctrine of lapse and misrule charges. According to doctrine of lapse, the rulers who didn't have the rightful successor, then that kingdom would be annexed in the British East India Company or British rule. So the first kingdom was the Satara. The first kingdom was the Satara, who annexed by the British by the rule of doctrine of lapse in 1848. So Satara annexed in 1848, Jaipur in UP, Sambalpur in Odisha, Bhojat in 1850, Udaipur, which is in Chhattisgarh, annexed in 1852, Jhansi 1853, and Nagpur in 1854. Basically, we have to remember most important rulers, kingdoms. The first one is the Satara and Jhansi. हमको इसको याद रखना है, बाकी और आप याद रख सकते हैं, ठीक है. The second was the misrule charges, according to which he acquired the Awadh in 1856 and Barar in 1863. Okay, so the term basically used British India was the British जहाँ पे डायरेक्टली रूल करते थे, और प्रिंसली स्टेट का मतलब वो था जहाँ पे वो सबसिडियरी अलायंस पाते थे. ये टर्मिनोलॉजी है, कंफ्यूजन नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay, so it was the twofold policy of Dalhousie. Now we are going to study the British rule. British had ruled more than 200 years in India. Basically, this was in two forms. The first was the company rule between the 1773 to 1858, and there was a crown rule between 1858 to 1947. So what was the company rule? In company rule, the first act passed was the Regulating Act 1773. This act was formulated by the committee headed by Prime Minister of that time, PM Lord North. Okay, he formulated the Regulatory Act. Why the Regulatory Act was passed? Because British Parliament wanted to regulate the affair of East India Company, according to which it extended the monopoly of East India Company for next 20 years. Okay, what was the provision? According to which, in England, the proprietors, who was the shareholder of the EIC, shareholder of East India Company, shareholders elect the 24 directors known as Court of Directors, whose tenure was 4 years, and they would produce reports to the British government regarding the matters of civil, military, and revenue. Okay, all matters of civil, military, and revenue from India, they would produce the report to the British government. Okay, in India, Governor of Bengal became the Governor General of Bengal. New designation was given to the Governor of Bengal. So Warren Hastings was the last Governor of Bengal, and between the 1772 to 1773, and after that passing the Regulating Act, he became the first Governor General of Bengal between 1773 to 1805. So first Warren Hastings. Okay, so this government of Bengal was assisted by the 4-member council. This whole council was known as Governor General in Council or Governor General Executive Council. So we can write it by formula 1 plus 4, means 1 was the Governor General of Bengal, Governor General of Bengal, and 4 was the member of council. So this becomes the 5-member body, and decision taken by this body was the majority vote. So more than 2/3 will make the decision. The quorum for this committee or council was the 3 member. At least 3 member would be present for any decision making. And if there is a tie, then Governor General had the casting vote. What was the next provision? The Governor General of Bombay and Governor General of Madras became the subordinate in the Governor General Executive Council or Governor General in Council. Both are the same thing. So Governor of Bombay and Governor of Madras became the subordinate to the Governor General Executive Council. Fourth provision was a Supreme Court at Calcutta was established in 1774, and 4 judges were appointed. One was the Chief Justice and 3 subordinate justices. The first Chief Justice was the Eliza MP. Okay, and the last point, the Governor General of Bengal empowered to make rules and regulations and ordinances without the consent of Supreme Court. So Governor General of Bengal was empowered to make rules and regulations and ordinances with consent of Supreme Court. Okay, this was the Regulating Act 1773. But the Regulating Act was not perfect. So in 1781, there was another act was passed, which is known as Amending Act of 1781. It was passed to rectify the defects in the Regulating Act 1773. So it is also known as the Act of Settlement, according to which it exempt the Governor General and Council's Act in official capacity. It is exempt the Governor General and Council's acts in official capacity from the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. It also exempts the servant of the company acts in official capacity from the Supreme Court. It also excluded the revenue matters and related matters in collection of the revenue from the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Fourth, the jurisdiction over all the inhabitants of the Calcutta was given to the Supreme Court. All the inhabitants of the Calcutta. In inhabitants, there was 2 major society, 2 major religious community. One was the Hindu and other was the Muslim. So Hindu was tried according to the personal law of Hindu law, and Muslim was the Mohammedan law. Okay, and the appeals from the provincial court goes to the Governor General in Council, not to the Supreme Court. ये Supreme Court को नहीं जाता था, ये जाता था Governor General in Council, and Governor General in Council can make regulations for the provincial courts and provincial councils. Basically, this act was more about the Supreme Court. So जो गवर्नर जनरल और उसका जो काउंसिल होगा, वो जो एक्ट करेंगे ऑफिशियल कैपेसिटी में, वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जुरिडिक्शन से बाहर होगा. दे एग्जम्प्ट द सर्वेंट ऑफ कंपनी का जो एक्ट होगा वो भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जुरिडिक्शन से बाहर होगा. रेवेन्यू मैटर जो भी होगा वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जुरिडिक्शन से बाहर होगा. सुप्रीम कोर्ट को अथराइज किया गया कि वो पर्सनल लॉ के अकॉर्डिंग हिंदू और मुस्लिम्स को जो पूरे के पूरे कलकत्ता में रहने वाले थे उनके ऊपर जुरिडिक्शन दे दिया गया. एंड प्रोविंशियल कोर्ट से जो मैटर अपील के लिए जाता था वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट न जाकर के गवर्नर जनरल इन काउंसिल के पास था, और गवर्नर जनरल काउंसिल रेगुलेशंस बना सकते थे प्रोविंशियल कोर्ट्स के लिए और प्रोविंशियल काउंसिल्स के लिए. ये था बेसिकली अपना अमेंडिंग एक्ट 1718. नाउ नेक्स्ट एक्ट वाज द पिट्स इंडिया एक्ट 1784, according to which a new body called Board of Control, BOC, Board of Control, was appointed in the England. Basically, this body was in England, in which 6 members were there, 2 from the cabinet ministers and 6 from the Privy Council. Okay, so एक न्यू बॉडी क्रिएट की गई. According to Pitt India Act, the COD, Court of Directors, would administer the commercial function of the company, means trade and commerce, and the board of control would look after the political or administrative function of the company. Yani, this is the first time that the company's function were distinguished in between the commercial and political functions. Okay, so in a political and administrative function, board of control will look after the civil affair, military affair, and revenue affair. Okay, so जो भी ब्रिटिश पोसेशन इन इंडिया था, ब्रिटिश पोजेशन इन इंडिया, उसको देखने का काम करेगा बोर्ड ऑफ कंट्रोल. ओके, सो गवर्नर ऑफ बॉम्बे and governor of Bengal, governor of Madras became subordinate in the Governor General in Council. So governor of Bombay and governor of Madras became the subordinate in the Governor General in Council, recording the war, revenue and diplomacy. तो वॉर, रेवेन्यू एंड डिप्लोमेसी के लिए वो सबॉर्डिनेट रहेंगे गवर्नर जनरल इन काउंसिल में. इन गवर्नर जनरल काउंसिल the number of members, which was 4 earlier, reduced to 3. So the structure becomes the 1 plus 3. Okay, so it distinguishes between the commercial function and political functions with the two governing body both in the England. So it is the double government. Okay, strength of the executive council reduced from 4 to 3, so it becomes 1 plus 3. Provinces had to follow the instruction of the central government, otherwise they will be removed by the governor general. Okay, so this becomes the structure of the functioning of the company in 1784. So lowest rank at the lowest bottom line was the Bombay and Madras governors. After that, Governor General in Council, and in hierarchy, above it was the Court of Director, Board of Control, and PM, and last one was the uppermost was the Crown. Okay, so it was the basically East India Act. Okay, so we are going to finish it today itself.